Pope Leo XIV new encyclical gives an apparent optimistic statement. Never has humanity had such power over itself. Yet this statement recognizes a particular vertigo, the recognition that for the first time in history, the question of what it means to be human is being answered by the engineers of private companies in Silicon Valley rather than philosophy or lived experience. When Pope Leo XIV presented Magnifica Humanitas, he broke tradition to speak personally at the launch. Standing beside him was Christopher Olah, co-founder of the AI giant Anthropic. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to look at the calendar. Pope Leo signed Magnifica Humanitas in May 15, 2026, the 135th anniversary of Rerum Novarum, the landmark 1891 encyclical of Pope Leo XIII on workers' rights. That choice was the document's first argument. Rerum Novarum arrived when the factory system was dismantling the old social order. Craft trades were collapsing, and humans were being treated as interchangeable inputs for a production process. The Church's response then was to assert that labor has inherent dignity, that workers are not commodities. Leo XIV is now applying that same logic to artificial intelligence. He defines the current moment not as a technological challenge, but an anthropological one. His governing question is simple. What are human labor, creativity, and relationships for if machines can simulate them all? Now, there is also an element that deserves the highlight. The presence of Christopher Olah on the Vatican stage is a direct challenge to the current US administration. Anthropic is currently locked in a legal battle with President Trump after the company refused to grant the US military unrestricted access to its technology. In response, the White House ordered federal agencies to stop using Anthropic products entirely. By standing with the Pope, Olah wasn't making a neutral appearance. He used the Vatican podium to state that decisions about AI's direction should not be left to people in the industry. Then he made a staggering admission. He admitted that his own industry operates inside incentive structures that often conflict with doing the right thing. Essentially, a co-founder of one of the world's most powerful AI labs just stood in the Vatican and said his industry cannot be trusted to govern itself. This is a calculated move. Anthropic gets the Vatican's moral weight in the fight over regulation, and the Pope gets a safety-first ally in a world obsessed with speed. If you are enjoying this video so far, take a few seconds to like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. Most AI frameworks focus on misinformation or fraud, but the Pope's argument goes even deeper. He claims that by simulating human voices and faces, AI is encroaching upon the deepest level of communication, that of human relationship. The Catholic tradition holds that every person is made in the image of God. This isn't an abstraction. It's expressed in the unique, unrepeatable identity of your face and your voice. When a machine synthesizes these signals, the Pope argues we suffer an eclipse of the sense of what it means to be human. The danger isn't just being deceived by a deep fake. The danger is that sustained exposure to synthetic humans will cause our capacity for genuine encounter to atrophy. Leo XIV specifically warned a stadium of teenagers to use AI in a way that, if it disappeared tomorrow, they would still know how to think. He is warning of a generation whose cognitive capacities, sustained attention, and original thought are being systematically outsourced to a machine. The Rerum Novarum parallel reaches its sharpest point in the encyclical's treatment of AI and labor, and this is where Leo XIV's argument moves from theology into economics. The Pope has stated that AI systems have increasingly taken control of the production of texts, music, and videos, putting much of the human creative industry at risk of being dismantled and replaced with the label "powered by AI", turning people into passive consumers of unthought thoughts and anonymous products without ownership or love. Passive consumers of unthought thoughts. This is an argument about what happens to human beings when the act of creation is removed from their lives and replaced with the consumption of its output. Leo XIII said factories could not treat workers as interchangeable inputs without moral consequence. Leo XIV says the same about AI's displacement of knowledge workers, creative workers, and everyone whose labor involves the production of meaning. The encyclical states in paragraph 37 that fair wages are the concrete means of verifying the justness of the entire socio-economic system, and that work is not considered simply as a problem to be dealt with or a means of generating income. Olah at the Vatican podium echoed this line of reasoning, stating that AI will soon displace human labor at a very large scale, creating a vacuum that requires an ethical framework transcending national borders. Coming from a co-founder of one of the companies building that displacement, the statement is either unusually honest or a very sophisticated piece of positioning. Probably both. On warfare, the encyclical is categorical. Leo XIV describes the current use of AI in conflict, from Ukraine to the Palestinian territories, as a spiral of annihilation. He argues that a decision to end human life cannot be delegated to a system that cannot understand the moral weight of death. An autonomous weapon processes targeting data. It cannot understand that the person it is tracking is unrepeatable. This puts the Holy See in direct tension with Washington. While President Trump argues that slowing AI development would hand the global lead to China, the Pope insists that moving fast with autonomous weapons is a moral catastrophe in slow motion. This is the second major flashpoint between the first American Pope and the sitting American president. One views AI dominance as a national security imperative. The other views it as a modern Tower of Babel, a reckless attempt to build a civilization that bypasses human limits. However, a 42,000-word document on artificial intelligence released from the oldest continuously operating institution in the Western world will not stop a single line of code from being written. The encyclical has no enforcement mechanism. It cannot block an autonomous weapon program or compel a tech company to pay its displaced workers. What the encyclical does, and what no regulatory agency can do in quite the same way, is name the question underneath all the specific questions. Not, how do we regulate autonomous weapons? Not, how do we compensate displaced workers? But, as the document states, technology is never neutral, because it takes on the characteristics of those who devise, finance, regulate, and use it. The question is whose AI this is, who shaped it, in whose interest it operates, and whether the humans on the receiving end of its decisions retain enough agency to remain, in any meaningful sense, the authors of their own lives. But what do you think? Do you think the Pope's critique of AI makes sense? Did you know who Chris Olah is? If not, please let us know in the comments below. This is fundamental, because we might be preparing a series on AI tycoons where we dissect who's behind this AI revolution that, objectively, has changed and will continue to change our lives from now on. If you enjoyed this video, take a few seconds to like it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. And if you want to stay ahead of our releases, click the link in the description or scan the QR code that's appearing on the screen right now. See you in our next 10-minute brief.